Hello, this is how I changed my life and started my own business. So it took a huge mindset shift. This is going to be a super quick video, so listen very closely. So I was working a job in car sales. And before that, I had done a couple of years worth of delivery driving for DoorDash and Instacart. Okay, I did a lot of that. And that was not fun. People think, oh, it's great, you just drive on your own. Not that much fun, okay? I could go into a whole other video about that. I did Amazon delivery driving, okay? I worked out west on the oil sands fields. So I did that for Canadian Natural Resources Limited, or CNRL. I worked for them as a general laborer, that's it. And I worked as a line cook in a kitchen. And before that, I worked in a grocery store, and then I worked in a different grocery store. Same chain. I worked at Food Basics first, then I worked at a Metro, one city over. So I worked a lot of these jobs, and I've had very deep thoughts about where I wanted to be in life and what I really didn't like. Maybe at that age it was very overdramatic, but I knew there was a deep burning feeling that I did not want to be where I was. So each time I made a change, it was an incremental step. Now, there's tons of lessons that were learned through those incremental steps. What I will say, though, is that they don't compound as well as the lessons I have learned very recently and that I'm about to learn. Because what took me, say, 5 years to get from here to here is going to take me, let's say, 2 years to get from here to here, right? Because that's the compounding effect of these skills. When you think about compound interest for money, the same thing works with skills. So I was working in a car dealership, and there were certain things about that place that I really did not like. And there were things that I spoke with, my general manager about, and I told him, hey, there's certain things here that within my first 6 months of being here, if I can tell these are wrong, and you've been here for years, and you're a well-rounded person, and you have very good common sense, you must very much know these are wrong. Why aren't we changing it? And there were certain things where we can make actions to change where we're at and to change the culture and the, I want to say the salesmanship scalability, if that makes sense. So really operationalizing our sales team to be better performing and be happier and have more fulfilling jobs and things go more smooth and less trouble. We could do all these things, but it was very evident and clear that there was a high up limiting factor, and there was something that was not going to change no matter what. And there were promises that there will be changes to what was going on, and they weren't met. Had a huge conversation after my 6 months. 6 months later, I had another talk with that person, and then a few months later, I said, yeah, there's lots of things to learn throughout that because it's sales. Like, it was my first job in sales, right? So it very much changed a lot of how I see, the world and people and confidence and communication. Like, it had a huge feedback loop as well because we were a high volume car dealership. So there were certain things that I noticed, and even if I worked so hard and there was a certain ceiling, I couldn't break that because you cannot change people. You can change your environment at which you situate yourself around them. And I knew that that was the next step I needed to take. So then I kind of looked and was like, okay, what is the next best step for me to go? And entrepreneurship was my next best step. And that's what I'm doing now. And I will say that time where I knew I was going to make money no matter what, I knew I was going to sell a certain amount of cars no matter what. Like, I knew every month if I wanted to, I could sell 9 cars, like, no problem. Like 9 or 10, like, it's done, right? Like, it's not even a question. It's fine. But I knew what else was to come of who I was going to be surrounded with and the things I didn't want to hear and the conversations I didn't want to have to fake to be around too. I did not like that. I hated doing that. And every day became this little binding thing that was gripping me in all the wrong places of my brain and in my heart too, and my soul. And I'm not saying this place was some awful thing. Like, it's selling cars. Nobody's dying. It's not that big of a deal. But for me and my own personal experience of it, it really, really did not feel good. So I made the change. And it has so far been the greatest leap I've ever taken. Just like any other young entrepreneur, anybody that's made it, nobody's certain. It's tons of uncertainty. So right now, it's crazy. I'm 100% confident, but I'm 1000% terrified. So I'm really excited to see what the future has in store. That's a little bit how I went from a typical job to becoming an entrepreneur. And we have a lot of work ahead of ourselves, but I want fast feedback loops. I want to get this thing going, and I'm super excited I've been hard at work, and I can't wait to just absolutely cram and jam out in Calgary when we have our place and I have my home office and we are just ready to call leads. Because right now, if we call leads, we can foster some relationships, but we're not at that space yet where it's worth anything. And I want this to be dialed. I want to do everything the exact same way so that way we have more measurable results, and then incorporate changes every now and then. So that way we can see, you know, proper conversion rates and see what's changed. But that's for another video. So thank you very much for watching. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'm more than happy to help out. Or you just want to talk about this general topic, I can always help out. I only make these videos for one of two reasons. One, it's for me to look back on later and see how my communication has developed and my storytelling skills and my presentation skills hopefully have skyrocketed. That's the hope. And along with that, it is so I can see what mistakes I was making earlier on. So that way, you know, I can kind of see how far I've come, right? If in the future I kind of feel the same way I do now, but I look back at old videos or old experiences and I'm like, oh my God, like this is awful, right? Clearly I've grown. And I want that feedback loop to happen later on as well. I'm looking for a future like 10 years from now, okay? I'm trying to play the long game here. And the second reason why I make these videos is for other people to see if you're somewhat in the same boat as me right now. If you're a few steps ahead, and you know, even way past me, but you stumbled upon this video, first of all, thank you very much for watching. Or second of all, you could be, you know, maybe a few steps behind. You're at that job that you hate, or you're about to get a job that you know is not something you really want to do, but like, let's face it, we all need to make money to survive, right? And you need a job to, you know, grow some skills, and maybe you want to go into business, maybe you don't want to do that, maybe you want to be in trades, maybe you want to go be, you know, some head at a firm, like, I don't know. But there's something where you may be, there's a time and place which you may be a few steps behind me where I'm at now, or a few steps ahead of me, and hopefully I can help you as well. And once again, thank you very much for watching. So that's it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you kill it out there no matter what you're doing, and take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.